Hello, guys. Welcome back to Life as Sash Knows It. It has been a minute since I've done one of these, to be completely honest. I'm sure you know that, so I don't know why I'm saying completely honest. I've had a lot of life changes, so I've moved rooms in my house. I've got a bit of a different setup. If you're watching this on video, you can see I've got a brand new bed, some new furniture. It's a bit more spacious than the last setup. If you're not, you might have seen it on my TikTok at that news girl or just on my social media if I've ever posted about it, which I'm not quite sure I have. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to give a bit of an update on how life's been going. Life has been great. There's been a lot of different things happening. So I am working now. I am working a retail job part time, which is, I know, not ideally what I would like to do, but it is very much keeping me in a good position. I feel that I'm very fortunate. I remember I was really struggling being unemployed. So I was unemployed for about 3 months before I found my job. I was a Christmas temp and got kept on, which I'm very happy about. But it was a difficult time, and I've taken some time to kind of get into that job and make myself feel comfortable and set there. I'm still applying for other jobs. I'm still looking. If you guys want to hire me, let me know. But yeah, it's been great. I feel like content creation has definitely not been at the forefront of my mind for a while, and I'm bringing it back, guys. We're bringing it back. We're bringing back our weekly episodes of me yapping to you guys for about 30 minutes about emotions, because we all know I love to talk deeply. I love to talk about emotions. I love to talk about whatever I'm going through in hopes that it helps you. So, without further ado, before I ramble on for longer than is necessary, let's get into the episode. So, today we are going to talk about starting your life in your 20s. If you're watching this on video and you keep seeing me looking down, it's just me looking at my laptop, I promise you. I love eye contact, so I'm going to give it to you guys, but, I want to make sure I'm not rambling on about the same thing for longer than is necessary. I want to keep an eye on the time. So I wanted to talk about, like I said, starting your life in your 20s. And this can be restarting your life. This can be, starting again. It could be, right, no, I'm 20 now. This is a new journey. This is a new chapter in my story. And that's fair enough. For me, personally, when I say this, it means I feel like I have grown. And also, all right, also, if you hear me sniffling like this, my hay fever's really playing up today. I don't have a cold. I just have hay fever. But yeah, for this means that I am looking at what my life is going to look like. So that can be through relationships, through friendships, through how I have and spend time with my family, through my career, through my hobbies, through who I am. There's so much. I really do feel like I have a sense of who I am, which I'm very fortunate to have done. I remember when I was going to university, I wanted to make sure I kind of came out knowing a bit more about myself, knowing about what I'm interested in, because I very much did go into uni, probably more of a trend follower, not really sure what I was into, not really sure what I was like. Like, I remember I didn't even really know what artists I liked. I didn't have the top artists that I would listen to. I had artists that I'd listen to here and there. Now I do. In case you guys would like to know, I love listening to Tyler the Creator, one of my top artists, Sabrina Carpenter, Brent Fayez, Steve Lacy, Malcolm Todd, Olivia Rodrigo's new what's it called, album has been up there. I do really enjoy that. Malcolm Todd also came out with a new album. Like, such a great time to be fans of them. So those are just a bit of that. And I actually just listen. I don't even know what I listen to. I think I just listen to old school music. And I still do, but I very much wanted to understand a bit about myself. So without further ado, we've basically got into it, but let's get into it further. So I wanted to start off also by saying, I feel like as you start your 20s, you're really starting to shape your life. You're really starting to figure out things, and if you're not still figuring out things, like, it's just a very much a growth period, because you're an adult. Well, technically you're an adult when you're 18, but I feel like it was in my 20s that I probably felt like, oh wow, like, I'm an adult. I'm actually turning 22 this month. It is my birth month, which I'm very excited about. So I think it's really important to have this reflection, because I do feel like I've grown a lot. I feel like I've become so, like, very emotionally mature and emotionally aware, I would say. I feel that I know how to express myself. I can understand my patterns, how I might react in certain situations, from life experiences to just knowing me and knowing what I need in certain moments, what I don't need, what I do and don't like. And I think that's also something that's important. But I do want to make a disclaimer. I'm not saying that these are the things that you need to have figured out. If you feel like you haven't figured out your emotional patterns, you haven't figured out what you want to do for your career, my point is I'm trying to let you guys know that that is also absolutely fine. You do not need to have everything figured out, and I'm still figuring out those things. There is still room for change, and I think that's one of the most important things, is to be open to things changing. Because I might feel like, yes, I know I want to do this for my career, but at the same time, a year later, and there actually has been a slightly change to my career trajectory, which I'll get into, but I feel like I'm saying trajectory right. Do you know what? I'm gonna just check, because I don't want to keep saying career trajectory and then someone's like, Sasha, that's actually not meaning. Can I even spell it? Trajectory. I just want to make sure it means what I think so. Yeah, the path. Okay, do you know what? I'm gonna stop saying trajectory. My career movement. We'll just say movement. I want to make sure I'm saying the right thing. I don't know if you guys ever get like that where you say a word and it sounds right, but if someone asked you to explain it, you actually couldn't. Like, that's how I feel right now. But let's get into it. So, I don't want you to feel that you need to know exactly how things are going. Lots of things have changed for me. Things will still continue to change, and you never know. I might do this episode a year on, a year of being 22, and a whole heap has changed. So I just want to say that. Do not think I have it figured out, because I do not have it figured out, which is exactly why I'm doing this episode. I also I feel overwhelmed by it all. I don't know about you guys, but I know that I do feel passionate about lots of things. There's so many things I want to do, and I naturally put a lot of pressure on myself on what I want to achieve, when I want to achieve it. I very much was I'm guilty to the 5 year plan. Like, I know roughly what I would like to achieve in the 5 year plan, but I had like a 5 year plan and then like a monthly plan. Like, I had a plan, and I was like, damn. 5 year plan might be too far. Maybe stick to a year plan on what I would roughly like to accomplish within the year, with like a quarterly check in to make sure I'm either achieving it or making sure I'm on the lines of achieving of oh my gosh, on the lines of achieving it. And yeah, it does get overwhelming. I love a plan. I'm such a plan girly. I love to have a plan. I love to try to stick to a plan and understand what is going on. But I also have grown to understand that's not everything sticks to a plan. Not everything goes that way. And it does make it very much more difficult. And I think that's why I definitely got overwhelmed, because I was just like, oh my gosh, I so for example, I wanted to be in a job that I want that in my industry by June. Girlies, guys, peeps. We're in June and I'm still not there yet. And I think, do you know what? I want to recognize this growth, because typically I would have been like, oh my gosh, like, I've failed my deadline basically. What the hell, I need to give up. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I really messed up. What did I do wrong? When actually, I think it's also having that understanding that not everything's going to go to plan. And I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. And that's all I can do. But I kind of wanted to break down into like segments, because I feel like there's so much little intricate things into being in your 20s. Like, there's so much more. And I feel like I'm just going to go rambling if I don't. So the first thing I kind of wanted to discuss was making new friends in your 20s. So after I completed uni, such a great experience. There's so many different ways to meet people. Like, I met one of my best friends in my final year, and we're like this. I love her to bits. We still see each other regularly. So she's still at uni, because she was a first year when I met her. So this girl still got one more year left now, because she's finished her second year. And that's such a beautiful friendship. I have another friendship that I got out of university, met her on day one, and but she does live further away. So it does make it difficult because, especially after uni, everyone kind of lives a bit everywhere. I do have friends from home, which I love, but I kind of came home, and in October, after I graduated in July, I was like, right, I want to really branch myself out. How do I do that? There are lots of different ways, but it was all very nerve wracking. So I'm a Christian, and I really wanted to start going to church. That was something that, as a personal goal of mine, that I wanted to do because I wanted to try and build my relationship with God and bring myself closer to Him. So I started going to church, and just saying, I didn't join church to make friends. That was an asset to it. I went to church to be closer to God. Through my love of Christ and through going to church, I met, honestly, the most amazing people. I've made so many deep, close friendships. I've done fun things with the girls. Some of the girls could make it to my birthday that we recently went. We went to Rooftop East, and then we went to Roller Nation and did roller skating. And honestly, a beautiful time was had. And through those friendships, I've had created such beautiful connections with those girls. I actually hosted a Galentine's event that they all came to, and it was such a special little community, because not only do we share the same love, the same passion for Christ, but we also have genuine, real, raw friendships as well, which is something so fantastic. I remember making friends was a very, very big deal to me because I don't want to go too much into it, but I've had very difficult situations with friends. I have, yeah, I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, I've had very difficult situations and pasts with friends, with friendships, with friendship groups. So when I was back home from uni officially, I wanted to branch out. I wanted to widen my net of people because it was very much, I live in a small town. So it was very much everybody knew everyone, which is absolutely fine. But it just didn't work out for me. And that's absolutely okay. You know, some friendships aren't meant to be lifelong. Some friendships are meant to only be for a certain period of time, or maybe some friendships aren't at the level to last. That's also okay, and that's something that I had to learn. So, yeah, I wanted to widen my circle of friends, meet new people, build new relationships, and it was a bit difficult at first. So I was very fortunate to find that through my church, but there are some ways, but the ways are still hard and nerve wracking. So I know there's events in London or in maybe in some local areas or local cities to wherever most people are that do events where you show up alone and you make new friends and things like that. But I've also had instances when I've turned up to just an event by myself and made beautiful, beautiful friendships. And it was so refreshing to see because I feel like by exploring new friendships, seeking out new friendships, I've discovered so much more about myself. I've discovered what kind of friend I want to be, what kind of friendships I would like and I look for. Because I think people, sorry, I need to sniff. I think people sometimes think when you're looking for a boyfriend or a partner, you're very much like, I would like my partner to be kind. I would like them to, treat me with respect. I would like them to be outgoing, a bubbly person. I would like them to be excitable, like ready to try new things. And I think it's also important to do that for your friendships. Like, I think the beauty of a friendship is you can get different things out of different people. And by that, sounds weird, but hear me out. So, for example, with one friendship, you might get that deep emotional connection where you feel like you can tell them anything. You feel like if you have any burden, if you're upset, if you're happy, if you're nervous, if you're anxious, you and that friend can have a deep conversation and they can really help you figure out things and you feel better afterwards. You might have friends that you go out with and they bring the energy. They bring they're so fun to be around. They bring out your more adventurous, more outgoing side, and that is beautiful in itself. Then you've got, maybe some friends that you consider family that maybe you don't need to see all that often, but something goes down, you call them, they pick up the phone, they are there for you as soon as possible. I also have my long distance friendship girlies from uni where I may not see them every day. We might catch up once in a while or text all the time, and then when we see each other, it honestly is so refreshing and they almost feel like home. So those are a bit of some of the friendships. Honestly, they are actually examples of some of my friendships. I don't want to get into details of them because obviously they might not want to be name dropped, but that has just been such a special thing, just having those different things. And it was difficult. It's nerve wracking. Like, I was always overthinking. I was like, oh my gosh, they think I'm so weird. Or am I being too loud? Am I being too odd? Am I being too quiet? Like, and I think that's something that now that I look back on it is hilarious to me because a lot of those friendships, I mean, majority of them, I'm still friends with those girls now. We've been friends for a good few months now. And I wish that I wouldn't have let myself get into my own head about it because there was probably potential that these friendships might have not even had the time to grow, had the time to blossom because I was so anxious about how I might be perceived. And I think it's also just having that understanding that people aren't going to like you. People might think you're odd. People might think you're weird. But the true friendships, the ones that withstand the test of time, the distance, are the ones who know you might be a bit odd, know you might be a bit loud or a bit excitable or a bit quiet or a bit anxious or a bit nervous, and they still accept you for who you are. Because, you can have a friend who might be louder than you are, but you love that about them because they bring out your louder side. They make you feel more comfortable within yourself. You might have the quieter friend that you might help bring out their loudness, their energy. So yeah, that's definitely something that I was like, oh my gosh. I've also found beautiful friendships at work. I love this girl to bits, so she's moved away. Oh, I literally miss her. I love you, girl, if you're listening, 'cause you know who you are, because you left me. But she was always planning on moving, and we became friends through work. And she, honestly, such a beautiful girl, beautifully hearted. Honestly, like, oh, I could talk about her for ages, low key. Guys, you see me sipping for her. I actually love her. She was such a good friend to me at such a difficult time in my life. She made me realize my worth, which is maybe a bit crazy to say, but she made me stand up for myself. She made me see things in a better light in terms of how I should handle things, how what I shouldn't be taking from people, what I should be taking from people. We had our cute little cafe dates, and I think that's so fun about making friends in your 20s is they don't know what you were like prior to that. So honestly, every time is like a story time. They're filling you in on their life, you're filling them in on your life, and you're like, oh, this person, they're like, who's that? And I'm like, oh, let me take you down memory lane. Let me tell you about what happened. And there's something so fun about that. The last thing we did before she went is we went to an aqua park. It was freezing because it was April before she left. Oh my gosh, we were so cold. Our feet were ice, but we had such a fun time. Such fun time. Girlie, if you're listening, I love you. I miss you. Please come back home. The wife and kids miss you. But yeah, that's just a bit about that kind of aspect of my life. I feel like I'm always trying to figure out how to make more friends. And I'm still wanting to make new friends. Like, I think it's so important to have so many different types of people in your life. And something I love is they've honestly, my friends have been my rocks. They have been my diehards, helping me through whatever I'm going through, because I definitely have a tendency to kind of close myself away from people when I'm struggling with things mentally. Those girls were like, girl, where are you? What's going on? Let's talk. So I'm very, very much grateful for those beautiful, beautiful girlies. But another thing, and I kind of mentioned this at the start, was career movement, because I definitely feel the pressures of having to find a job. As very much as I'm employed, I am employed part time. I would love to be full time, but it doesn't always work out that way. And I very much am anxious about having a full time job and still not being able to achieve my dream, my goals. So, guys, if you're new, oh my gosh, I didn't even introduce myself. How bad of me. My name is Sasha Wiltshire, and if you don't know me, let me tell you a bit about myself. I studied journalism at university and I graduated in July. I have a love for presenting, a love for content creation. I enjoy it so much, and I found this love through my degree. So ideally, my main goal where I want to head in life is I'd love to be a presenter slash content creator. However, my career, the types of jobs I'm applying for has slightly altered. So all the while I'm still applying for jobs where I want to be a presenter, content creator, work for companies, I've actually kind of fell a bit into marketing as well. And I recently have kind of come to terms that I might also want to look into social media marketing, because all the while I'd love to be the face of social media or someone's content or someone's favorite TV show or things like that. I very much love the marketing aspect of it, thinking, what do people want to see? How can we create this content? How can we draw an audience in? Because that was very much things that I learned through my university degree. So that was kind of my point about things might change. Did I ever think I'd probably do social media marketing? Absolutely not. But now that I know that that is something I'm interested in, that has changed the types of jobs that I apply for. I still apply for what I was applying prior, but I do now look more towards the marketing angle. And I think that that was why I was trying to explain to you guys it's really important to be open, because you really honestly never know what opportunities might come their way, what jobs might be placed in front of you. So, yeah, that's been interesting. And I've only really kind of come to terms with that in the last month or two. Actually, month. I'm actually going to say it was a month, which is not even a long time, which is exactly my point of things are going to change and you have to be so open and willing for things to change in your 20s. I know that some people struggle with change. I very much was someone who struggled with change. So I actually would have been in this room way sooner, but I was really stubborn and I was like, I'm not moving rooms. I don't want to leave my bedroom. I've been in this room my whole life. Da 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 da. And then eventually I was like, I need a change. Like, I've been in this room my whole life. So it's quite funny how I was like, no, I've been in it my whole life. And now I'm like, actually, that's my reasoning for wanting to switch. So I moved rooms and I couldn't have been happier. I feel like it was such a great start for me in my journey and it helped me really just shift my mindset. People underestimate how much your environment can really have an effect on your mind and your mindset and what you're thinking. And honestly, I'm here to tell you that it does. Like, it really, really does. I don't know why I whispered that. Maybe for some effect. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I just think that you need to be very open. And for me, it's been very open in my career. I also feel like I had to come to terms with I might not make it. And I know people are like, you shouldn't be speaking like that. Like, that's really bad. But I also feel like it's realistic. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I enjoy this nonetheless. If it is not my full time job, I love it as to do it on the sidelines, because I didn't start this. I specifically didn't even start this podcast to be paid for it. That is not why I started. I started this podcast because I wanted to help other people who might be going through their own stuff or who might be experiencing things in their life and feeling alone. And I never wanted people to feel that way, because I know I felt like that way a lot. So for me, I'm I think I'll be content with my life if I don't achieve the things I'd initially planned for myself, because I have so many other beautiful dreams that I would love to put emphasis on. I want to start a family. I'd love to get married. I'd love to have my own flat. I'd love to, vlog my life more, create more content. I would love to be more comfortable in life financially. Like, there's so many other things that I'm working towards, that I've understood now that yes, I'm working towards this career. This is what I want in life, but there's so much more to life than work. There's so much more to life than work. And I think once I realized that and realized, do you know what? I am passionate about presenting, content creation. So I'm going to do whatever I can, by whatever means I can, to work towards that, to achieve that. But it is not the end of the world if those things don't happen for me, because I have been so beautifully blessed through having a beautiful, amazing, loving family, for having a roof over my head, for having gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous friendships, for being able to have a job, even if it's not full time, I'm still getting an income. And I'm not even saying this to be like, these are all the things I have. I understand how fortunate I am to have a lot of the things that I have in my life. Not everyone has a family they can confide in, friends that they can rely on, a good job that's giving them that stability, a roof over their head. Which is why I'm saying it, because I feel like it's very easy for those to seem like the most obvious things for people to have, but people don't have it. And I think that even for the people who don't have it, there's always things to look for. One of the things I used to do is I had a journal, and when I was feeling really low and depressed, just as a disclaimer, I didn't have depression, but I felt depressed. I just want to make that sure that I'm emphasizing that. I used to have a book, and in this book, I would write down all the good things that happened today. So it might have been I cooked dinner, I woke up before 10 a.m., I cleaned my bathroom, my hair or my outfit looked really cute that day, I made my bed. And you might be thinking, Sasha, I'm not being funny, but making your bed is not that. And do you know what? To some people, yeah, making your bed is really not that big of a deal. For me, it was a big deal. It was a very, very big deal because I remember I literally would stay in my bed all day. I wouldn't shower till like 6 in the afternoon. My bed wasn't made. My room was a mess. And so when I did achieve those little things, it was like, oh my goodness, a good actual thing. This is not even a sponsorship. I use this app called Finch, and it's basically you take care of this little bird, and every time you tick a task, you're getting these more energy points to be able to do things and go on adventures. It's quite good actually, and that's been something that's been helping me keep myself going because oh my gosh, am I exhausted a lot of the time. I'm also a chronically ill girly, so I do get very tired a lot. I do lose a lot of energy, and that's something that makes it difficult for me. So yeah, I think it was so important to celebrate the small wins, and I think that definitely helped me realize that life can be difficult, but and sometimes you're not going to always get the things that you're hoped for, that you wish for, that you dreamed for yourself. But it's important to look in other areas of your life and be like, oh my gosh, actually, I've become so emotionally mature recently, which is something that I wanted to work on, or I have created this beautiful life for myself. And even though it's not the exact thing I'd planned for, I am so blessed to have this. And I think sometimes it's just slightly shifting your mindset a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of what it's been like for my career wise. I've been running, and when I say that, basically running is basically doing errands or helping out on shoots, not actually running. I ain't a runner girl, I'm telling you now. So I've been freelancing for lots of different media production companies, had a few couple presenting gigs here and there. Are they as frequent as I like? No, but the fact that I'm even getting them is a major thing for me. So I'll take my small wins where I can get it. But I guess the last thing I kind of want to say is about hobbies and personal time. So there was a time where my friendships were a bit rocky, and I kind of came to a stance that I really need to enjoy my own personal time. I used to be someone who couldn't be by themselves. I always had to be with someone or doing something, whether that was going out for food or hanging out with friends or going for brunch. And all the while that was amazing, I did not have the financials for that. I couldn't keep going out with friends and doing this and going out, and it just wasn't feasible. So it was around December time, and I was home for Christmas, and I was like, right, okay, I really need to just enjoy my own space, enjoy my own company. So I got into reading, I started gaming on my Nintendo Switch, I got into watching films. And I've got to a stage in my life where so that was about 2 years ago. So I got to a stage in actually no. Yeah, about a year ago from December. So not the December that's just gone, the December before that. So about over a year. And I now feel like I'm in a zone where it's like I love, love, love spending time with my girls. I love spending time with my family. But I do need that little bit of time to myself. I do need time where I'm not doing anything or I recharge basically. Even with sleepovers, like if I've been out with my girls all day, I need that time, and they're very much understanding of it. Where I'm literally maybe just scrolling on TikTok or going on Instagram, or just doing something where it's for me. And that was something that was actually quite difficult for me at first. I was bored. I was like, oh, like what are my friends doing? Are they free? Like what can I do? And it very much did take a while for me to get to that understanding. And yeah, it did feel like I was starting over again. I was trying to discover what I liked to do. So, yeah, like I said, it was reading. I loved doing nail art. I got back into crocheting. Haven't done that in a minute, but I'm very much a mood person. Like if I'm not in the right mood to do it, in terms of like, oh, I'm not really feeling like it, I'd prefer not to do it. I loved watching films and watching shows, specifically binge watching shows. I absolutely adored that, or watching old films that brought me joy. One of my biggest ones, I feel like you might know what I'm gonna say if you know me very well, is Shrek. Whenever I always save it for my worst, like my worst days, I would watch Shrek to make myself feel better. Speaking about Shrek, I've seen them come out with the new trailer actually. So I'd love to know what you guys think about that because I don't know what to feel. Let me just leave it at that. But I think one thing that I felt like I had to kind of learn about myself again was what I actually enjoyed. I mentioned before how it was, I didn't really know who I was. I didn't know what music I liked. I didn't know a lot about myself. I was very much someone who followed trends, I would say, more than figuring out what I liked and seeing a trend and being like, actually, I don't love this or I do love this. For example, bows, they came in and loved them, they died out, and then I kind of wasn't into it. But then actually, when I matured a little bit, I rediscovered that I did like bows, but initially, I only liked it because it was a trend. Another thing that became a trend is Labubus. I don't know how to explain it. I love cute, ugly things. It's weird. So I have like a Fuggler, which is like a similar to like a Labubu. It's kind of like a little pocket teddy type thing, and that is on my bag. So initially, I wanted a Labubu so bad, like they were so hard to get, and I actually went into Pop Mart at Westfield in London and I had the opportunity to buy one. They were right in front of me, and I looked at it and I was like, I don't want it. I don't actually care for this. And it made me realize that when trends come, I wait for trends to come and then I wait for them to go. And if I'm still interested in what it is, then I know I actually wanted it. So, for example, like Jellycats, I actually do really enjoy Jellycats. I have one, but um, if I would have gone crazy and bought a bunch of Jellycats and then found out that I didn't actually like them, that's not that's just me following a trend. That's not really who I am. Right now I actually know I like trends. No, that's not what I was trying to say. I know I like bows, which was a trend. So I very much try not to follow those things. I like to know what I'm actually interested in. So for reading, I really love romance books. I've really loved Elle Kennedy's hockey romance series, and I'm so glad they turned it into an Amazon Prime show because I keep watching it over and over and over again because it's genuinely so good. Reading as well, I found I love fantasy books, so I read Fourth Wing, loved it, and I'm so excited they're turning that. I think they're turning it into a series. I'm pretty sure it's a series and not a film, which I'm very excited for. Okay, so sorry if you heard that slam. My brother just shut the door. But it's just finding things that I enjoy. Clothes. I try not to go through trends with clothes. I will go and I will try it on, and if I feel like it looks cute on me, then I get it. If not, then I don't. I very much was someone like, I need an aesthetic. I need an aesthetic. And that was so exhausting. Oh my gosh. I felt like initially I wanted the Y2K aesthetic, not in terms of like, I don't know, just the old. I wanted things to have character, have feeling to them, and that's where that kind of derived from. And I still very much love those clothes, but sometimes I love the baddie clothes. Oh, I can't believe I said that, but that's the only way to explain it. Like, black outfit, leather jacket, leather boots, love it. So, but then I was like, oh, but that doesn't align with the Y2K of what I was going for. I very much wanted to seem like, the early 2000s rom-com films where it was like the girl and she was just sitting with like a cute little flowy top. Like that was initially what I wanted to go for. But also sometimes I want an all black outfit. So I feel like sometimes when you were trying to fit an aesthetic, that was such a big thing growing up. Everybody's like, you need an aesthetic, you need an aesthetic. Like, you have a dark emo aesthetic, that's all you could do. And I was like, actually, you know what? Screw that. I'm not sticking to anything because I want to do so much other stuff. So my room, it has like this, there's like bows on like my drawers. And when I mean that, it's like the Toulouse Dunelm set. And I actually got it off Facebook Marketplace, guys. I had to hunt for all this stuff. What can I say? But I have a way I want my room to look, but it doesn't, it aligns with how I want it to look, but not fully. So I kind of want my room to feel warm, cozy. I want things to have warmth in terms of their character. But I also love the Smitskys. So if you don't know what Smitskys are, they're like these little green people and they're like doing these cool, funky little poses. And it's like a little trinket. And you put them in your room. They actually glow in the dark as well. So they like charge up in the day with all the light. And then at night they'll glow in the dark. I love those. Does that necessarily go with my room? Absolutely not. But I love them. And that is something that I'm obsessed with. That's one of my interests. That's something I enjoy. And that's what makes me happy. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's all about discovering yourself. And that honestly goes with everything. Discovering yourself in friendships, discovering yourself with your career and what you want to do, discovering yourself in terms of your hobbies, what you enjoy, what you like. And yeah, like, I genuinely feel we could talk about this topic for hours. Hours and hours and hours. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it to my 40-minute mark because clearly I have so much to say to you guys because it's been a while. But don't, overall, if there's anything I want you guys to take from this, is everyone literally works things out as they go along. I'm still figuring things out. I figured things out a month ago. And I'm still figuring things out. And I'm sure there's something else that I'll figure out next month or the following month. And that's okay. Like, guys, oh my gosh, it's so okay. And I don't want you to feel that you can't be constantly figuring things out. I feel like even when I'm 30, I'm still going to be figuring things out. Like, my sister's actually turning 30. I'm pretty sure she's still figuring things out. My mum's turning 50 this year. Pretty sure she's still figuring things out. Obviously, I don't want to talk too much about them because that's their own personal journey. I hope me sharing my own personal journey is helping you guys as well. I hope that this is making you realize that it's okay to figure it out. 20s, I think, is specifically tailored towards that, so that when you are 30, when you are 40, when you are 50, you have a bit of a better idea of things. But it's also okay to start again. There are people who didn't make it in their careers until their 40s, and now they're successful writers, actors. I don't know why I can think of anything. Directors, producers, singers, so many different things. And no two journeys are the same. What I'm doing, I might make it into my dream career when I'm 25. I might not also make it until I'm 30. For me personally, one thing I want to say is comparison is a thief of joy. So one of the people I look up to in presenting is Maya Jama. And I will be honest, sometimes I do look at her crib, I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that. But also Maya Jama has been doing this for years and is also at a completely different part of her journey. I believe, I know she's older. I don't want to say her age because I actually don't know it. I can't remember. So I'm just going to say she's older. And so her journey's looking different than mine. I'm also a victim of going back to when they were my age and seeing what they were doing when they were my age. But if anything, I use that as inspiration. I try to see what they're doing, what they were doing at my age, what they wish they would have done at my age, and using that to help me, because I feel like one thing we do as people is we learn from lived experiences. Sometimes you do have to have those lived experiences yourself to learn, but a lot of the time I feel like we go based off of what other people have told us or other people have spoken about their experiences. But we are coming to the end of the episode. I really do hope that you guys are. I'd love to hear about your journeys. I'd love to hear about where you are, where you wish you were, where you hope to be, what your dreams used to be, literally anything. And my inbox is always open, DM me on my social media, reach out to me because I'd love to have these conversations with you guys. But Thank you so much for listening. Thank you guys for being so understanding for my little content break. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your morning, rest of your day, rest of your night, wherever you are listening this or whatever time of day you are listening to this. Thank you so much for being here today, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.